And we're back. Our second guest for this get-together, Jacqueline Cox, is a mother, home educator, mentor, music therapist, and business owner of Fanfare Music Therapy. Jackie, good to have you here.
Thank you for having me today, Sam.
Let's talk a little bit about you. What do you do other than music therapy? And we'll get into that in a minute.
Okay. Well, I'm a wife. I have 2 grown children, and I like to garden in my spare time and read books and cook.
So you stay active.
I stay busy, yes.
That's a good thing. Music therapy. How did you hit on this?
I first found out about music therapy when my son was a senior in high school, and I was looking at the next step for me. And my mother told me about music therapy, and I hadn't heard of it at the time. And I had already pursued music and had completed 2 years of a music degree years before, and I thought that would be a great fit because I could use my previous college education to go towards a current degree. And so I applied and went back to school after my son graduated high school and became a music therapist.
All right. I'm curious to know, how does one apply music therapy?
Music therapy is used to address non-musical goals. So for any population really, if you need to work with communication skills, children learning to speak, or someone who's had a stroke or a traumatic brain injury learning to speak again, you can use music to help retrain those communication skills. Work on cognitive function, so executive function, problem solving, decision-making skills, or even academics with children. We can use music in each of those situations to help the clients improve their cognitive skills.
I know it's one of the most amazing things, if you will, that we see out there, and have doctors that picked up on it, and they're trying to use some sort of breakthrough. But if a person has had a stroke or has entered into some situation where they just don't want to communicate anymore, music penetrates that barrier. Have you read anything on this? Can you bring us up to date on what it's all about?
Music can help motivate the client to participate in the speech recovery when they may not be as motivated to do it. And so there is plenty of research out there showing that rhymes, chants, and familiar lyrics can help stimulate prosodic speech to stimulate automatic speech. And so that helps rewire the brain to rewire those speech-language networks. And that's part of how that works.
Is there an age conduit involved? In other words, do you look at, say, one client might be 15, another client 40, and another client 70? Is there a different approach to the 3?
Not necessarily, but as a music therapist, we do plan our treatment program according to each particular client. So it's very client specific and designed for that client. So a 15-year-old, obviously I'm not going to use the same songs I use with a 15-year-old that I would use with that 70-year-old. But there are some neurologic music therapy techniques that are standard techniques that we would apply in each of those age brackets, but using appropriate music for each of those age brackets.
So you pull out of what that person might or might not have been listening to,
right,
or considered a favorite prior to the age they are.
Correct.
When they're going through a problem.
And typically what you want to use is music that they learned in their early childhood or teen years up to their mid-20s will help stimulate that long-term recall to help reform those networks.
Please don't misunderstand what I'm about to say. I don't mean any disrespect, but it would seem to me that the first case you had, if it were a successful outcome, had to cause you to do some kind of a backward flip after that person left the room.
Oh yes, even the smallest progress that a client makes brings so much joy to the work that I do. I have one client who has dementia, and she's pretty much nonverbal, and through music therapy, she has started to sing longer phrases with me, and then even use 2- and 3-word phrases in answer to my questions. So if I might ask her, do you want this song or that song? She'll say, I want that song, instead of just yes.
Really?
Yes, and the staff in the community where she's living has said that even out in her daily life, she is starting to use 2- and 3-word phrases.
No kidding.
Yes, yes. That's the power of music.
Gosh, that's quite a breakthrough.
It is awesome. It will at least increase it a little bit to help maintain, you know, she will never be able to have a conversation like you and I are having again, but if she can at least be able to communicate some of her needs or wants throughout the day, that's what we're looking for.
What kind of, we got about 2.5 minutes left. What kind of research do you have to get in front of you before you actually can start to work with a person who's not verbal? In other words, do you have to research the individual?
Yes, yes. I want to know, of course, what the individual's diagnosis is, what they can and can't do. So I do an assessment, first of all. Obviously talk to the family members and find out what their strengths and weaknesses are, and then I'll do an assessment with them and find out what can they do, what can't they do, what are their favorite songs, did they used to play a musical instrument, did they not? And then I'll take that information and design a treatment plan in order to work on their weaknesses using their strengths.
So it's not just a blind assessment that you start with. You start with a ground plan, if you will.
Correct.
A blueprint
Correct.
to
Right.
get inside and find the problem.
Right. One of my particular clients, he was a drummer in high school and his early adult years, and he played in a band. And so obviously he's going to enjoy playing the drums with me in music therapy sessions. And so that helped connect him to the music, connect him to his long-term memories, and allowed some reminiscence too with the family when they were there to help communicate, oh, when he played this song at such and such a time, this is what happened. Or I brought in his college fight song. You should have heard him play the drums right along with that college fight song, and the joy it brought to his face, taking him back to his college years, playing his college fight song.
Wow, that's really intriguing. We got about a minute. Have you a website?
I do. It's www.fanfaremusictherapy.org. O-R-G.
So if folks need to get in touch or want to get in touch for a friend or relative, they can just check your website.
That's correct.
Jackie, thank you for taking time to come by.
Thank you so much for having me
I
today.
may be a client down the road.
We would have a blast, I'm sure.
Thank you very much. Stay in touch with us. Let us know how things go, will you?
We'll do that, Sam.
All right.
Thank you.
We're going to take a short break. We'll come back and, well, I'll just introduce the next guest when we get back, right after this.